All right, so in this video, what I'll be doing is going over the different types of domain intelligence systems. And in case you aren't familiar with what exactly a domain intelligence system really is, so when you're dealing with AI, right, the thing about these AI models as of 2025 is that they're generally knowledgeable, right? So, when it comes to just a wide variety of industries and fields, they have like a general understanding of those fields, right? Certain models perform better and have more like just information and data just for certain specific fields, right? But like when you're looking to use AI for more specific use cases, right, you don't want a general intelligent model. You want a very domain specific, intelligent model, right? Like you want a model that understands you and your business just as well as you do, because that's how you get like actual real intelligence, right? The big thing about domain intelligence systems is what we do is we basically integrate AI into pre-established context so that the AI is contextually aware of just the field that you're in, right? And from there, you can have like a intelligent AI system that basically understands exactly what's going on within your business, right? And there's multiple different types of ways which we can go about actually integrating the AI. So that's why in this video, I'll be sharing with you the different types of ways in which you can do so. So for the first type of domain intelligence system, what we have is a structured query language AI agent. So this is an AI agent that leverages a SQL database such as NoCodeDB or a Supabase or really like any Postgres SQL database, right? And kind of like the key thing here is that this AI is querying through structured data sets in order to retrieve answers and retrieve responses, right? And sometimes like synthesize responses that are inside of the data set. So for example, we have this database that was set up right here inside of NoCodeDB, which is a data set of just different stocks, right? And their valuation across the different calendar year. And they're all in a structured table. So everything is formatted in a way where all of the data kind of is in a specific spot and location. And how exactly the agent would be able to leverage this data set, right, is if you were to ask for a specific query, such as like which stock performed the best in the calendar year of 2021, right? The agent will be able to make a query, pulling in all of the different stocks within 2021 and really just like analyzing just the net income and like total current assets and analyzing just all the different pieces of data inside of this data set in order to give you a answer, right? That's kind of like the key thing right there. So where I would say this type of domain intelligence works the best at when you have like structured information that you just want to have like retrieved very quickly or kind of synthesized very quickly. That's where like a SQL agent would perform the best at. And really like the cool things, right, ultimately with all of these agents is that at the end of the day, when it comes to building domain intelligence systems, you can integrate them in multiple different interfaces, right? Whether it's a web interface or if it's a platform or app interface like Slack, right? Or Telegram. At the end of the day, the agent really is just like the back end. It's really just the intelligence orchestration side of things. And the interface is interchangeable, right? So with that, if you wanted to build a actual like app, right, a front end or even like a widget that you could place in your website, you could do that with this type of agent. If you want to integrate it into Slack, you could also do that as well. So next, what we have is a retrieval augmented generation agent. This is commonly known as a RAG agent, right? And pretty much with the RAG agent, what you're doing is you're connecting AI to a vector database, right? Now, there's multiple different options, right? You have like Pinecone, you have Weaviate, you have Quadrant. These are some of the top vector databases. And how exactly it works, right, is with a vector database, you have pretty much a database. And within the database, you have multiple different vectors. So as you can see, these are all different like chunks of information. And they're all kind of given some vector number, right, or a vector score. And the vector score really is just like a relational number for like how semantically close each of these different chunks of information are to each other. So really just to show like how related they are to each other. And what happens is that whenever you enter in a query, you have an embedding model that goes through and it's able to actually like select just different pieces of information within the vector database just based on how close it is to what you're looking for. And then it takes that information and it adds it into your prompt, right? Just so that overall the agent is more contextually aware. So I hope that was like a good enough explanation in terms of just how exactly vector databases work. Kind of like the big thing, right, is that it gives your agent more like semantic understanding. So your agent will be able to see relations between information instead of just looking at structured information, right? It can kind of see how things are connected and how they're related to each other. And this is great for when you want the AI to have more of like a, I would say, understanding, right? Instead of just retrieving and searching and just pulling direct answers. This is where you're really like leveraging AI to like, I guess, kind of form connections between different ideas, right? So I would say that's kind of like the key thing when you're using a RAG agent. So just like with a SQL agent, you can connect it to different interfaces as well, whether you want to build some form of a web app or if you want to connect it to any application platform too. All right, now for the third type of domain intelligence system, what we have is programmatic language. So we have like a code interpreter agent. And this right here is pretty cool because what we can do is we can connect any type of code database to AI to have an agent that can manage a full database, right? And this really opens up just a ton of use cases because what you can do here is you can turn a static deterministic code base into a intelligent code base, right? Using AI that you can have an agent really like choose which part of your code base to execute, which functions to execute and when. And this really gives a lot of opportunity for turning really any app into an agent, right? So with that, I have this LangChain RAG agent code base. And what I could do if I wanted to is I could pretty much insert different functions of this code base into this agent, right? So that the agent could basically be aware of all of the different functions and it could decide just based on different user queries when to execute on those specific functions. And I think that's really cool right there because it really does allow for just a lot of opportunities. And it's almost a new paradigm in how exactly we can go about in terms of interacting and building apps, right? Where now we can have like apps that are genuinely intelligent. And for the last type of AI domain intelligence system, what we have is a relational graph agent. And what a relational graph agent really is an agent that is based upon a relational graph database. So with relational graph databases, what we have is a database where the information is all in a relational graph. This is different from a vector database because with vector databases, there isn't like any graph on how they're connected. With vector databases, they're really like all in a just free form space, right? So it's not really about connections. It's more of just about how close they are proximity. Whereas with a graph, what you have are like actual graphs, right? Where you can, as you can see, this line right here connects these two nodes based on, when the tickets were purchased for, right? This connection right here is based for the location of where they're located in. That's kind of like what a relational graph is. And relational graphs are kind of like in that middle zone between having a very structured query, such as with a structured database, and having a complete like freeform space with vector points in a vector database. So these are really the four main ways of leveraging domain intelligence systems. So these are really the four main ways of making your AI agents more contextually aware, right, upon just your specific field. And don't just think that these are the only four ways. There's definitely a ton of many more ways which you can go about in making AI contextually aware. These are just like the most common, right? And as time goes on, we may start to see like new ways of making AI more contextually aware start to appear. But really, for now, like using these right here will get you very far ahead in just a lot of the AI agent builds that you do look to actually create.